Today, we're diving into a really practical guide for mastering our own minds. It's drawn from these ancient texts called the Indriyasaṃyutta, and you know what? They lay out a surprisingly clear path to something I think we're all looking for: real, lasting freedom. So let's jump right in.
Let's just get straight to the heart of it. The big question these texts tackle is this: what is the path to the end of suffering? I mean, that's a massive question, right? And the answer they give isn't some secret password. It's a path of mastering our own inner world.
You know, any good journey needs a destination. And for this one, the goal is nibbana. Now, you might hear that translated as enlightenment, but a much more gut-level meaning is unbinding. Think of it as finally untying the knots of stress and dissatisfaction that keep us stuck. It's about getting free from that whole cycle. That's the why behind all of this.
Okay, so if we're going to walk this path, we need some gear, right? A toolkit. And the texts introduce us to 5 absolutely essential mental tools. In Pali, they're called the paññā, or the 5 spiritual faculties. Just think of them as the core strengths we need to build to really navigate our inner landscape.
All right, here they are, the big 5. Saddhā, which is conviction; viriya, that's effort; sati, mindfulness; samādhi, concentration; and paññā, wisdom. The key thing to remember is that these aren't just abstract ideas to think about. They are mental muscles that we can actively, intentionally develop.
So let's break these down, starting with saddhā. Let's be really clear here. This is not blind faith. It's so much better understood as a deep conviction, a confident trust. It's the confidence that, hey, awakening is actually possible because someone, the Buddha, has already walked this path and shown it can be done. This conviction is the solid ground you stand on to take that first step. Next up is viriya. Now, if saddhā is the map, viriya is the fuel in the tank. It's the engine of the journey. It's that persistent, steady energy we put into our practice. It's the grit to abandon the stuff that's unhelpful, the anger, the greed, and to actively put our energy into cultivating what is helpful, like kindness and clarity. It's truly the active ingredient for any real change.
The third faculty is sati, or mindfulness. Now, you've probably heard this word 1,000 times, but here it means this clear, non-judgmental awareness of what's happening right now. But what's interesting is the text also connects sati to memory. Not remembering your grocery list, but the ability to remember your purpose, to stay connected to the path you're on.
Then we've got samādhi. This is concentration, but it's even deeper than that. It's about unification of mind. Think of your awareness like the beam of a flashlight. Most of the time, it's scattered and diffuse. Samādhi is the ability to gather that beam into a focused, steady laser. And here's the really cool part. What do you point that laser at? You focus it on relinquishment, on the very act of letting go.
And finally, we arrive at paññā, or wisdom. This really is the crown jewel of the 5. And this isn't about being book smart or acing a test. It's a direct, penetrating insight into how things really are. It's that aha moment that changes everything, because it's this very seeing that cuts right through the roots of our suffering and liberates the mind.
Okay, so we've got our 5 tools. Fantastic. But a toolkit doesn't do you much good if you don't know how to use it, right? So how do we actually turn these qualities into real, tangible strengths? Well, the suttas lay out a clear, systematic approach.
First things first, you have to understand there's a pecking order. The texts use this great analogy. Just like the lion is the king of beasts, the faculty of wisdom, paññā, is the chief. It's the boss. And why is that? Well, because wisdom is what guides all the other faculties. Without wisdom, conviction can turn into blind faith. Effort can be totally wasted. Wisdom makes sure the whole team is working together, pointing in the right direction.
And this is where it gets really practical and, frankly, pretty amazing. Look at this. Each one of these faculties has its own specific training ground, its own workout routine. Now, we're not going to do a deep dive into all of these right now, but the point is, this is a complete curriculum for training your mind. It's incredibly systematic.
So that's the theory. But how does this toolkit actually apply to our day-to-day lives? Well, it's all about mastering our moment-to-moment experience, which, let's face it, is basically shaped by everything we see, hear, feel, and think.
This slide just lays it out so perfectly. Think of it like this. On the right, you've got your raw experience. Everything coming in through your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and even the mind itself, processing thoughts. That's life happening to you. And on the left, that's your toolkit. The whole game is about using the tools on the left to skillfully work with, understand, and master your reactions to everything coming from the right.
And the texts give us this beautiful little hierarchy. All the data from our senses, everything we see, hear, taste, it all finds its meeting point, its refuge, in the mind. The mind is command central. But what about the mind itself? Where does it go when it's chaotic and overwhelmed? The answer is mindfulness, sati. Mindfulness is the anchor, the stable ground where the mind can take refuge.
So, as you start to develop these faculties, your inner world really begins to change. And this isn't just some vague, oh, I feel a bit better today kind of thing. The path has actual signposts, recognizable milestones. You can literally mark your progress. The journey might start as a sadhā, a faith follower, which basically means you're on board and you have that initial conviction. As your faculties mature, you might become a sotapanno, a stream enterer, someone who's had that first transformative glimpse of nibbana. And the path continues from there, all the way to the final stage, the araham, a worthy one, someone who is completely and totally free. And what determines your stage on this path? Well, it's stated so simply right here. Variation in the faculties leads to variation in the fruits. It's basically a spiritual equation. The degree to which you've developed these 5 faculties directly corresponds to the level of freedom you experience. It's cause and effect, simple as that.
And that brings us full circle, right back to the ultimate goal we talked about at the beginning. After walking this path, after developing these faculties to their absolute peak, you arrive at the final destination, a state of complete and, importantly, unshakable liberation.
I mean, just listen to this declaration from someone who has reached the end of the path. Akup peya mimmuti. My liberation is unshakable. Wow, think about that for a second. That's not a hope or a belief. It's a statement of fact, a direct knowing. This is my last birth. Now there is no more rebirth. It's the ultimate declaration that the cycle of suffering is well and truly over.
So if you take away just one thing, let it be this. The path to liberation isn't some unobtainable mystery. It is the direct result of systematically developing these 5 inner qualities. Mastery of your inner world leads directly to the end of suffering, not in some future life, but right here in this one.
And that really just leaves us with one final question to think about. We've just unboxed this incredible toolkit for the mind. Conviction, effort, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. Looking at these 5, which one of them jumps out at you right now? Which one feels like the place you could start, even in a small way, today?